Welcome to another exhilarating episode of Comic Book Straight Talk, brought to you from the secret basement inside one of America's oldest comic shops, Tulsa's own The Comic Empire. Now, true believers, open up your ear holes and get ready to have your head filled with the best comic book knowledge this galaxy can handle. That's right, it's time for another nerd overload with Comic Book Straight Talk.
Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Dalian.
This is Terry.
Kenny.
Carrington.
And we're here
with our good buddy. What is your name?
I'm James.
And James. That's how good a buddy he
You
is.
just blanked on his name. When you
No,
looked
I
at
knew
him.
his name, but he was trying to announce it himself. So.
Oh, okay. You want to talk about SteamCon real quick?
Yeah, we can talk about SteamCon.
What did you think of it?
For the first time, small little con, it was fun. I mean, there was a number of vendors there to actually go see and look at stuff. It was small enough to where you can go there, and it wasn't going to take up your whole day. You go there, you take a look at stuff, and you go about your day. I mean, it was a fun little con. They had, like I said, steampunk stuff, you know.
Okay, cool.
And a few other guests.
Yeah. I thought it was really well. I mean,
They had a couple of boxes of free comics.
I know. You picked up a couple, I know.
did.
You picked up
one Archie for Jimmy and one
Yeah.
for me with a Wolverton cover.
Yeah. Cool. I thought it was really weird.
There was only one Wolverton cover.
He didn't get anything for you, I know.
God.
I didn't think he liked Wolverton. I thought.
So who doesn't like Wolverton?
I thought you. But no, it was, I enjoyed it, and I'll be looking forward to going back and checking it out again next time. So.
Yeah, they set us out in this in the front of the library, in this little, I don't know, what do you call that, little cove or something?
Rotunda?
No, it was a little cove.
Little cove?
Yeah, it was shady there. It was not, the weather was just great. I mean, it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cool. So we did some interviews. We chatted with some people. We had barbecue.
We did have barbecue, yes. It was good.
And
I know.
Man, if I'd have known there was
Wasn't as good as Burn Company, though. But it was good.
no, it wasn't as good as Burn Company, but they had their potato salad was pretty good, and their what else? Their mac and cheese was pretty good.
And I don't like potato salad unless it's from Burn Company. Mm-hmm. But this was cold potato salad, and it tasted pretty good.
It had a good spice to it.
So
Was it Hickory House?
no, I can't remember the name of it.
Hog Heaven?
No, I don't think it was Hog Heaven.
Hertz Donuts was there early in the morning, so if you want to, you got to get your Hertz Donut.
It hurt.
Yeah. Their donuts
Actually, I never had it. I didn't try one.
We didn't get any Hertz Donuts, but they were there.
No.
All right. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's in Sapulpa at the library.
Are they planning on doing one next
They're
year?
planning on doing it again next year. Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting how they come up with STEAM, though. Because it was like science, technology, engineering, arts, math. And so they just called it STEAM.
Yeah, they connected it more to just being just steampunk to helping with kids' literacy, etc. Especially they did, I think it was Friday, they did like a field trip with some kids and stuff. So that was kind of cool.
They did have a laser tag thing out there. I thought about challenging Terry to laser tag, but I was too tired.
I'm tired today.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So a friend of ours.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. A friend of ours, Jeff, we called up last night, and we were talking about. He actually had some questions that he wanted to ask us and get our opinion on. He's got a couple of questions. The first one is, where do you see comics in 10 years as far as print books? Will there still be books, or are the rumors of Marvel dropping books a real reality and something to really to consider? And I know a lot of in Facebook groups, I've seen a lot of people talking about they're taking stuff off their list, they're dropping comics, going back buying the older stuff. So I mean, what are some of your thoughts, guys, on that?
I see maybe it decreasing. I know Diamond doesn't want it to go out of business.
Well,
that's Diamond's business.
Well, with Diamond though, they're talking about doing their pull system, or they also had at one time talked about doing digital comics, selling digital comics too. So
Well, I mean, just about anybody can sell a digital comic book.
I think what will happen is Diamond will figure out a way to buy Comixology.
That would be good.
Probably.
That
That
would
would be a smart move on Diamond's part.
What do you think, James?
I think comics will contract. They'll probably be as less physical books, but I don't think they'll go away. Marvel's already moving toward licensing out the kid-centric Star Wars books to IDW. So even if they don't want to publish all the books, if there's $1 to be made, somebody's going to stay in there and try to make it.
Ellen, could you imagine, though, if, Disney sees it, well, Marvel, you're losing all this money publishing, why don't we just license the books out? And, like, they license, say, X-Men to Dark Horse.
And
If Dark Horse is still around, Dark Horse doing X-Men books, that could be something to consider.
That
Or
is
they
a
could just give
possibility.
Star Wars back to Dark Horse.
That's true.
And Conan.
And Conan, yeah.
What do you
mean-
think, Carrington? Carrington.
She's deer in the headlights, yep.
I think comics are going to take a significant step back in 10 years, and I could totally see Marvel just getting out of the whole business.
Well, especially since, like I was saying, if their publishing starts tanking.
Especially if they don't start making quality stuff.
That's what I'm saying. They need to take a step back and rethink what they're publishing. Maybe not. They're doing fine in the movies, but the book sales have really fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an opinion online that one gentleman, and he's got a following, that why would Marvel keep publishing comic books to make $50 million when they can do one movie and make $1 billion?
Because the movies aren't going to last either.
And
There's already hardcore comic fans that are like, you know what, I'm tired of superhero movies.
There's already that fatigue going on right now.
But a part that he's not thinking about is if you follow that train of logic, why does Disney have churro carts in Disney World?
Right.
They're making $5 or $10 a piece on churro. One of his arguments was it's not worth their time to spend all this money and effort to make comic books to make $50 million when they could make $1 billion off of one movie. But Disney does a lot of small things. T-shirt sales. Why would they sell T-shirts? But they're not going to quit selling T-shirts. So there's money to be made. They just may do it a different way.
Comics are the foundation, though, of these movies. So without that foundation,
I kind of go back to the Disney World has churro carts.
I don't think we need to touch on that any further. I think that's
churros, man. People like churros.
That's supposed to be a big thing at Disney.
What's funny, though, is
getting churros at Disney.
Well,
they're delicious.
They are, but I just had never heard that they had them. I knew they had McDonald's French fry carts because I saw them. But anyway, sorry.
Well, they had churro carts when I went there in 2000.
Really? So I didn't see churro carts then. But there may have been something.
And another thing is, the guy talked about, a movie making $1 billion, but that's not guaranteed. You have to risk $300 million to maybe make $1 billion, whereas to publish a comic book, you're risking $10,000, $20,000 to make.
Well, I've seen the page rates. I don't even think it's that much.
So it's
a lot of starving artists out there.
In terms of risk reward, they're not going to be bringing home $1 billion, but they're not going to have to go get a $300 million loan and have the next Battlefield Earth.
Right.
And all of a sudden...
Let's see what Captain Marvel does.
I think Captain Marvel, just from the people waiting for Avengers 4, how that's going to tie into it, is going to get a huge amount of audience.
Well, Marvel has not had a failure yet. I mean, the ones that we all thought were going to fail, being Guardians, at first, or Ant-Man,
They kind of thought
have been the best ones.
maybe
usually.
not necessarily the comic book realm. What is, I guess, but Han Solo was looked at as a failure.
That wasn't a Marvel movie.
It's,
We're talking Marvel.
That's Disney.
It's Disney.
That's
but
true.
But yeah,
That's true. But
we're talking Marvel Studios.
okay,
and
yeah,
I think Han Solo will make it up in Blu-ray and DVD.
yeah.
That's
I didn't
that's
consider
actually
it a
one
failure.
thing Jeff
thought
and
it was a
I.
good movie.
What I think will continue to not sell is The Last Jedi.
I think it will because of the completist. Just because
Well, they've already got their discs.
Right.
So what
But-
I'm saying is, they're not. I don't see them getting a whole lot of new sales
Probably
for The
not.
Last Jedi. Whereas word will get out that Han Solo is actually pretty decent, and people will curious to see
Mm-hmm.
will buy it.
Well, and like Jeff and I were kind of
It's like Barbed Wire
Having this
It made like
conversation.
$8 at the theater, but now it's made like
so
120 million
Yeah.
since they made it. So
barbed wire.
because everyone wants to see the first 3 minutes where she's dancing around naked, but
Well, yeah. Think about Solo, and honestly, I would look at who scheduled the movie and fire them. Because you don't put a Star Wars movie between Avengers 3 and Deadpool 2. And that's kind of where it was. It came out like 2 or 3 weeks after Avengers and like 3 weeks before Deadpool 2. It had no chance. Put it in February.
I think
you don't
they
put
the
any-
pre-screenings they got feedback from the pre-screenings and gave up on it. I think is what happened.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing, that Marvel basically, in their investment calls with stock people, were already preparing them for.
Well, then they
Solo
should
to
have
be a
pulled
flop.
it and put it into February. Where you put
Well, you shouldn't have put a movie. You shouldn't put a movie out in February. Period.
Well, I mean, look at Ghost Rider. The first Ghost Rider came out in February. It did really good.
John Wick.
John
Deadpool.
Wick. Deadpool came out in February. Did real
Deadpool
well.
broke every
You could
February
put some
movie
exactly.
record.
It would have done better in February
February is
than a
also
strangled.
looked at as not a good month to put movies out though.
But if the
that-
story- but
I
the
think
story
that's
was bad.
changing, though.
If the story was already bad, they already had problems with it. Put it in February. Make a lot more money than you made when it came out in August.
I
when
would
it
have
came
put it out at the beginning of summer.
But still, you would have been going against the other ones then.
Well, I mean, I would schedule it better sometime in the summertime though, where you have the kids are out of school and they're able to go to it.
Well, you could have put it out, I guess, around Christmas.
Or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, another problem was there had just been a Star Wars movie.
Right, there just also
Right.
been
So they kind of
the
rushed
last
it out.
Christmas.
Right.
They had been the Star Wars movies come out at Christmas now. They should have stuck with that.
Right. But that's, they should have put it at a different time. It would have been a better movie. I mean, sales-wise. But I think the movie's great. I mean, it's a fun little heist movie.
Outside of Lando's robot, I thought the movie was really good.
Yeah.
That robot was obnoxious.
Yes.
All right. So what was one of the other questions?
Another question he has is 10 years from now. So we're from now, not 20 years ago, but from now. What stories would suggest from today? Most legendary story arcs or art runs are from the Copper/Golden Age or older, with a few exceptions. Hush, Winter Soldier, most of those stories are already 10 years old. I mean,
If we want the last 5 years.
we'll say 5 years from 5 years ago to about 10 years. I mean, yeah, obviously in the future we can't really see what we're going to be talking about. But I mean, really, you can't.
What books from today
Yeah, right.
are we going to be sitting around talking about?
10 years from now.
Like we talk
Like
about
what-
Infinity Gauntlet or whatever.
I mean, you talk about famous runs on superheroes. In the top 5, it's all everyone always throws out the Daredevil, Miller Daredevil run.
Yeah. Or Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight
whatever.
Returns.
There,
Right.
the Walt Simonson Thor
Thor,
run,
right.
the
And honestly, I can't really think of any.
No, I mean
I can't tell you a book that I will care about in 10 years that's sitting on the shelf right now.
I know,
I
right?
can think about books that are in the modern period, but I can't really pin it down to within the last 5 years off the top of my head that I can.
well, like
I mean-
Image, who's putting out a lot of good things, but they're doing 4 and 5 and 6 issue arcs.
Right.
Like, we all liked Dead Hand. but it was 6 issues and it's done.
Right.
Are we still going to think about that in 5 years?
I think we would, yeah. I mean, for
or
a good
is that just going to be so short of a thing that you don't keep thinking
Yeah, it was a
about
good book, but I don't think it's like a pivotal book that will necessarily be being brought up quite a lot in our
I'd say
conversations.
by Brubaker and Epting.
Velvet, yeah.
You need a longer run.
Well, like you were talking about earlier, we were talking about the Court of Owls stuff.
Yeah.
And that was granted 8 years ago, roughly. But, I mean, that first story arc for Batman, The Court of Owls, I think will be something we'll be talking about. But it's, like I said, a little bit longer time back. But
I don't know. When did
the current Tom King run, he said that we're basically halfway through his idea.
Yeah.
If it plays out awesome, maybe we'll be talking
maybe.
about
That's
that.
true. That is
in
true.
10 years, or maybe it'll peter out. We don't know.
I mean,
but
the first story
we're
arc,
like halfway through.
I mean, his writing's okay, but I mean, I don't think he's like the greatest writer of this time right now. And that's like with Donny Cates. I don't think he's that way either. I've read some stuff that of his that's good. I've read some stuff that I was like, this isn't that great.
I know one that I will still think about, though, is the Nathan Edmondson run on Black Widow. But I don't think anyone else will care. I do, but
I can't think. I don't remember how long. Like I said, I can't think of any just within the last 5 years. I mean, I can think of modern day books.
And a lot of times it takes, 8 to 10 years for a story to really be recognized for that.
How long ago did Lock and Key
That's what I was
come out?
trying to mention. Lock and Key is
They were about
one
8
that I
years
would
ago, wasn't it?
consider.
It's been a while,
It's been a little bit, yeah.
Lock and Key.
And even Walking Dead, I mean, they just celebrated their 15th anniversary.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, that was 2005, roughly.
But how long did it take Walking Dead? There was a core group that liked it, but how long did it take to really get traction?
I'd say around
issue
15. I'd say 15 or 20. It got hot real quick. It blew up real quick.
But I mean, there's really
But when did it become known outside of comic circles? When did they start
When the
talking
show
about
came
it?
it's like in the show, yeah.
But they had to have enough oomph to put forward the idea of a TV show.
And they do their stories by arcs, though. That's like, if the prison arc was really good, or
I think when I
Governor.
first heard
The
about
Governor
it,
arc,
they were at about 50 because the first 48 was the storyline up through the end of where they were at the prison.
right.
And I read up through that.
I think it really hit was when the Governor came into the storyline and got a whole lot more buzz because of that. Because I don't think anybody had really read anything like that particular character in quite some time. And
then it wasn't just a zombie book.
Right.
Right, it wasn't just a zombie book at that point. And people were starting to discuss it outside the realm at that point. And it was being recommended by shop owners when people would come in that would like horror stuff or that related genres. So,
I mean, do we think the Batgirl of Burnside story arc would?
No. I think most people already want to forget that.
What about the Avengers? Is it No Surrender?
I think that actually would probably be one, and I hadn't even thought about that one. That when they did the weekly, because that was a good story. It was fast paced. I don't think there was any really lull in it. It was just action, and it was basically encompassed almost everyone that was an Avenger at one time, almost, except the dead Gilgamesh. But anyway,
I read a tweet from someone the other day, and they had a book from 10 years ago, and it was 22 pages, and 7 pages of it weren't action. And then they had, I think it was an Avengers. Then they had an Avengers that came out a couple weeks ago, and there was 7 pages of action. And the rest was them sitting around talking, eating.
you hear all that rattling and stuff.
sorry, I'm having an almond joy. Sorry, man. You want one?
No, I do not.
Hey.
Almond Joy's got nuts.
That's right.
Mounds don't.
All right.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of hard. That's something I'd really have to take a step back and really, think about the last few years. We may have to
I know something.
do a show on that.
The Case File Arkham books.
The Case File Arkham.
In 10 years, I'll probably still be rereading them.
Yeah.
And 10 years from now, I'll still be digging out all the Zenoscope covers that I bought and looking at them, and then not reading them and putting them back in.
I think that actually
Yep.
the Superman Man of Steel book, the 6-issue miniseries that Bendis did, has the potential to be, if his story or if his Superman run, takes off real well, and it has.
That was pretty polarizing, though, wasn't it? Because
It
a lot
was.
of people hated it.
It was, yeah, but
That
it
may make people talk about it.
that maybe
more.
won't, yeah.
What about the current Justice League Dark that's just firing out?
Possibly. With Wonder Woman had that little thing on her head, that I can't remember what it is, but it's not the tiara. It's the magic sign that she was Hecate, or Hecate's chosen, Hecate's chosen or something like that. So
I don't know. I read the first issue. Didn't have Madame Xanadu in it, so it didn't pertain to me.
I like the Cthulhu covers though. Pretty nice.
Well, everything Capullo
exactly.
does is nice. I mean,
the Mr. Miracle by Tom King.
maybe The Vision by
Or
Tom
Vision
King.
by Tom King.
Vision.
That's
As I yet to finish reading that.
Maybe that.
although people do like the Mr. Miracle as well, but I think the Vision was probably better. So.
Maybe that Muse storyline from Daredevil.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, and the whole Kingpin mayor in the fall that he took and stuff.
Too much Trump derangement syndrome in that.
Well, I don't think it'll be the return of Wolverine
No.
or the death of Wolverine.
The end of
I
Old Man Logan.
honestly,
The Hot Claws.
Oh yeah, the Hot Claws. Yeah, we'll be talking about that forever. How
Yeah.
stupid it is.
there's not a whole lot coming out right now that you just go, oh my god, this is so good. I mean, I was telling James the other day, is it sad that the book I look forward to coming out every month the most is Xena?
And on top of that, I mean, how many of us have a backlog of books that we haven't got through yet, So maybe there's a storyline sitting in there. It takes a while to get to some of these books.
I've
Sir,
been working on that.
Sir,
and
not
getting
every
caught
reader
up.
is like you.
Most of them are.
They don't have 4 boxes of books they haven't read that we can't talk about yet.
So, but it takes a while. I mean, like I can think back, of
Hey
course,
man, it's
why
hard
the-
to find all the time when you're constantly digging through dollar
Right.
boxes.
Why the Last Man, I can consider that. I mean, Sandman, stuff like that.
But all those
But
are
those can-
over.
That's what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
takes time to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. And that's
does.
what I was saying earlier.
Right.
Sometimes it takes 10 years for people to realize how good a story is.
I mean, we may 10 years from now realize that Dan Slott's the greatest Spider-Man writer that
No,
has
he's
done.
not.
Okay, here's a
In
correlation.
the top 50 amazing Spider-Man writers, Dan Slott still isn't sniffing it. All right?
Okay, here's a corollary question: is what book from 10 years ago, at the time, did you think we'd be talking about 10 years from now? That looking back, you think, why did I like that?
In League, because that started off so good and then went so bad.
Are you
Wow.
talking at the time you were like, yuck, or
No,
now
at the time, you were infatuated that we're going to be talking about this book for 20 years, and
Just
now
about.
you're like, we're going to be talking about how bad it was. Why did I like this?
about everything.
You know,
I can't think of one.
I mean,
a lot of the new 52 at the time, it's a new direction and it's darker, and now we're like, everything was so dark.
Actually, I do have one.
everything was so CW.
Detective Comics #1. for the New 52. I mean, that was like, oh my god, that was so awesome because when Joker cuts off his face, at the time it's really cool, and now I'm thinking, that is so stupid.
Oh, yeah, Joker's daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember how
Yep,
cool
yep.
we all thought that was?
Mhm.
And now you look back at it and go,
Oh,
kind of lame.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the slutty Harley. Why I ever liked that, I don't know. What?
Slutty Harley. I don't remember when was that one in there.
Dude,
They
the
turned-
Palmiotti and
Connor.
Harley is slutty.
Oh, for the New 52? Or the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they turned Harley from what she was in the animated series to the all innuendo all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It was, it was funny. It was great when you had that one innuendo in a story.
Right.
But it was like, now it's like every page.
Every
And it's
page
just
is
like,
innuendo.
God.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
No, I've talked about that for off and on for a long time.
Yeah.
So, did Jeff have any further
Well,
questions?
I'll give you an unpopular opinion on that. Kingdom Come. Everyone acts like it's the be-all, end-all of comics, and I look back at it now and go, God, that story sucked.
I still liked
I
it.
still enjoy that. I thought it was
It's still
storyline.
good, but yeah, I mean,
I picked it up to read it off my shelf the other day, and I was just like, ugh.
It does
Closed
take
it up and put it back in the
it
shelf.
takes a while to kind of get going. I liked it.
That's why I said it's an unpopular opinion.
yeah.
It's my hot take.
It's your hot take, huh?
Kingdom Come is overrated.
With the big two digging deep for good storylines, could they have run the course on most of their characters? Basically, they are out of ideas.
No,
Being
they just
Marvel and
need to-
DC.
They need to cut back on what they're doing. Look, I get it, the 52 books because the 52 Earths, but you don't have to make 52 books, okay? Make 25 really, really good ones.
All right.
That way you can get quality artists, you can get quality writers, you can get quality editors, because that's what everyone's overlooking. No one wants to be an editor for Marvel or DC because they're basically living at a poverty level.
Yeah. I'll do it.
So-
I'll edit their books for
We talk
You're already
about
living at a poverty level.
them.
Yeah, but then you'd be living at a poverty level in New York or
Yeah.
L.A.
I
or
could do it
Burbank
from
or
here.
wherever.
I could do it from Tulsa.
we talk
Sure.
about Grant Morrison. When Grant Morrison has a good editor
Yeah.
who's willing to stand up to him, he can write a good book. When Grant Morrison becomes so famous the editors are afraid to edit him,
He becomes
he's
horrible.
unreadable.
I think his Green Lantern would be something we may be talking about.
Grant Morrison, that recent book of his I read. What was that?
Nameless. We know you hated it.
Oh my god, that was horrid.
But yeah.
People seen a lot of other people that
Yeah.
didn't like it. I was like, oh my gosh.
But no, I do think, like I said, that Green Lantern would be one that we may, if it's done right, and like James said, if we have he has an editor on it, I think it would maybe something that we do good talk about. Morrison's Green Lantern. Don't give me that look like you know what the hell I'm talking about.
And anyone that talks about running out of stories, I mean, we haven't run out of. We had the Golden Age and then transferred to the Silver. It's there's more stories out there. Maybe this current stable of writers is out, but in terms of stories that can be told, no.
Yeah.
I mean, any hack
Well,
can hack out a Spider-Man
there's
story.
also
no
a lot
problem,
of stories that are just retold as well.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Golden Age cover artists and story writers took it from the pulps. You
Yeah.
know, so
Well,
there's
that's
still
like-
a lot of stories out there that haven't
Just ask Alan
gotten
Moore.
to people.
Yeah, Alan Moore made a whole company out of it.
Right.
Alan Moore claims that every story for the last 20 years is stolen from his ideas.
Alan Moore's a little full of himself.
What?
But you know,
He's a big fan,
of himself.
He's his own biggest fan.
I mean, I would love to see him do, if they did a Captain America movie, even do an animated I don't care, but like Streets of Poison was a good story for Captain America back in the day. But like Kenny was saying, the 25 books, a month, that'd be perfect.
You know, it's just like they used to
Or even
complain
20.
in the 90s, you know, instead of making 6 mediocre X-Men books, why don't you make 2 really good ones?
Right.
You're still going to sell the same amount, but
You
everyone
may
will
sell more.
But everyone will be talking about how good those 2 good
Well,
X-Men books are.
Take a look at the Avengers. You know, we mentioned it earlier. No Surrender. How many Avengers books were out at the time? You had Avengers, New Avengers,
Dark
Uncanny
Avengers.
Dark Avengers, Uncanny Avengers. You had what was the one that?
Mighty Avengers.
Yeah.
All new, all different.
Yeah. And what was the one that the U.S. Avengers?
U.S. Avengers.
So you had 6 or 7 Avengers books. They canceled them all. Did one Avengers book weekly. Now, granted, it was weekly, and a tight story, and it sold real well. Use that model. Do that for Uncanny, which I know they're getting ready to do. But do that for, FF. Do that for Spider-Man. We don't need another friendly neighborhood
First,
Spider-Man
you got to
book.
get FF out.
Well, I think they also got to the
Sure.
point that they were thinking,
And together as a
that-
team.
that they couldn't do any wrong, so they were just flooding the market. Us fanboys will just buy everything they put out.
And actually, in the '90s, that was the Marvel thought. You're buying the book for the characters, not for the story, not for the art.
And now it's variant covers. The
Quit
variant
doing the
covers
variant covers.
are propping up bad storylines
Yeah.
and selling enough books that it looks like this book's a success.
And it's like Mike says, if you have an Art Germ variant that's 1 in 50, he's going to order 40 Art Germ variants. But now that you've made it a 1 in 50, he's just going to order his normal amount.
Right.
He's going to order the 15 or 20 that he needs. Whereas if you'd have made the Art Germ the main cover, he would have ordered 40. Just because it's an Art Germ cover.
And and they don't understand that. They think, if we do this incentive, and if we no, that's the problem. They're not listening to the retailers. But
Well, it's always been the problem.
yeah,
I like the model of you take an unknown writer and give them a book of a lesser known character.
like they used
Say
to do in
like-
the '70s.
Well, they had, going back to Grant Morrison, they gave Grant Morrison Animal Man.
A worthless character.
And no one
cared about
And if you wrote a bad story, it was a bad Animal Man story. Who cares? And if it's good, all of a sudden, if you're getting buzz about Animal, then you put him on a hotter title. And it doesn't seem like they're willing to do that anymore.
Well, and they're taking these young adult novelists and giving them main characters. Here, Ta-Nehisi Coates, take Captain America. Well, why don't you make him prove himself on, like, Star-Lord first?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, giving Chuck Wendig Darth Vader. You know what? Let him write something else first. And then, if he creates some buzz, then you give him Darth Vader.
This is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but
no,
no, I want Chuck Austin back.
Yeah, as much as we hated Chuck Austin in the early 2000s, I mean, he'd be like a number 1 seller now.
Because you knew what you were going to get from him.
Yeah.
You were going to be slightly entertained. You were going to get a book on time.
Yeah.
And actually his run and with John Byrne art on Action for 12, 13 issues, I think it was a fun story. I mean,
Well, go back and read that. What was it? U.S. War Machine or whatever. That was actually a pretty good story.
yeah. Or even Ron Zimmerman. Ron Zimmerman, is that right?
I don't know, but
He did the Sweet Charity.
did we ever
Spider-Man
think
series.
we'd be missing Bill Jamis?
No. No.
One of the problems is TV and movies and Hollywood pay so much. If you sell one script for one episode of a TV show, you can make what you can make in an entire year at comic books. Why would you do Why would you slave away at comic books if you just keep punching away at writing a Flash episode.
Yeah, that's why Sterling Gates doesn't
Sterling
write
Gates,
comics
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, back in the 70s and stuff, I think they enjoyed what they did.
And there also wasn't that other alternative.
Right.
I don't know the solution to that. But
Well, there
Pay
are a
him more,
lot
but
more
pay him-
TV shows now, too, than there were in the 70s.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
In the 70s, you had 3 companies that you could write TV shows for. Or
That's
three
Main network.
3 main networks.
and there was only however many shows that
Yeah.
they could put
Yeah.
on, and
Yep, as
In
we've
a
said
week.
before, the internet's a good thing and a bad thing.
It's
You
the
know.
single best thing and the single
Yeah.
worst thing to ever happen.
I mean, DC's done it with the new talent showcase. They've gotten new writers, new artists. They've given them a story, you know, and I think it comes out, what, every quarter, something like that? They put a book out, the collected deal. And if I would like to see those people go on to do other things in the.
but we
you
have
know.
all heard how incredibly difficult it is to break into writing comics,
I think it used to be really difficult.
and you can break into comics if you're an artist. You just
Yeah.
draw good art and get your name out there. But I had always heard writing comics, if you don't know somebody, forget it.
And if-
And I think they're costing themselves by not soliciting new talent and at least listening.
And the new talent has said, you know what, screw you, I'll make my own comic and sell it on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. And
Yeah.
And if the writer does finally get into Marvel or DC, they're just using that as a stepping point, trying to get into something else. You know, and as soon as they can, they're out.
I'm going to Image and do my own book. We're going to do Joe Blow
well,
Destroys the
now,
Universe. Woo!
Marvel
There you go.
ran off all those creatives
Yeah.
to Image.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm talking about new writers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Image promotes. I mean, you can submit your stuff to Image, and they may pick you up as well. You don't have to necessarily be writing for Marvel.
Depends if you
or
pissed
DC.
off Eric Larson. If you pissed him off, you no chance.
But to wrap around to our first question,
Yeah.
in 10, 20 years, those people are still going to be putting out physical comic books. Whether Marvel and DC still are, somebody is still going to be.
Someone they will. I think it will
If
be.
there are people still buying them, there are people will still make
You'll have
them
less
and sell
shops
them.
because what? A couple of months ago, several shops shut down.
Well, the last I saw was in July, 17 more shops had closed.
or
'Cause-
shifted to a different platform.
No, closed.
Closed. Isn't it
Right, or
closed?
I'm saying in the future, though, either they'll close
Right,
or they
okay,
may
yeah.
shift into more like
Oh,
gaming. And
yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, and that's why, you know, Mark Nichols wrote that article about coming here to Comic
Mm-hmm.
Empire and said, you know, it's all comics, and people were calling him a liar, saying
Yeah.
there's no way that someone can survive off of just selling comics. You have to have games. You have to have Funko Pops. And he's like, no,
No.
I have pictures. I can prove it.
You have to have a
So-
smart business thing first, too. But that's
So
what. Yeah.
most comic shops are gaming shops. And most of them are gaming shops that have comics.
Well, and you know, who's to say 10 years from now, yeah, Marvel quits doing, you know, publishing comics and they keep doing digitals. You go to your comic shop, you bring your iPad or your tablet, you know, Mike, I want to buy, well, you go to your comic shop and you tell the owner.
You painted yourself
Sorry,
into a
I did real
corner
quick, so I'm
there.
going to back out of it real quick. You know, you tell your comic shop owner, hey, I want to buy this Avengers 42, you
So
know.
I want Joe Blow #1.
Or Joe Blow #1 versus Destroys the Image Universe, yeah. You know, or the World, whatever. You know, and okay, well here's that's $3.99. Okay, well, here, right in my cart, and boom. Okay, here you got it. You're automatically boom right there.
I don't think that's how
I-
it
It's
works.
not gonna
Well,
happen.
I
If
mean,
people are going to download books, that's going to be an online thing.
I think so, but I
They're
know
not
they.
going to want to travel somewhere.
Well, I know they had
The
talked
reason
about
they
doing
travel
that.
here is to get a physical copy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But who knows? They may.
No, they want to cut the retailer completely out.
Right.
Diamond doesn't, at least not now.
Well,
No,
no. At
I
one
think-
time they did. They wanted to sell their own. They wanted to sell digital comics.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think
That's why they came up with this whole pull list idea, because the retailers got pissed at them.
I think Diamond's going to start moving more into the digital part of it, and brace for the decline of the comic shop, because Marvel and DC would rather just not even have the comic shops.
Yeah. And kind of one other thing that was kind of brought up was, and Jeff and I were talking about this, and it's kind of like the distraction that something's really happening, but you have this distraction, you don't see what's happening. And it's kind of what we know, the 90s had the bust. With everything that's going on in the industry, have we hit a bust and we don't know it? Because we've got Comicsgate, we've got all this other stuff distracting everybody, but comic sales have been down, I believe. Like the stores shutting down.
Well, I mean, when you've lost 70 comic shops in a year and a half.
And I think some of the variant stuff is propping up the market, so you can't see the true
right. So I mean, are we kind of
levels?
I think we're blind to what comics are doing because it's all about the collectability right now. It's all about buying and selling on eBay,
flipping it, and
flipping and investing in them. So no one's really paying attention to the fact that a number one selling book now sells about 50,000 copies, whereas 10 years ago it would have been canceled because it was a poor seller.
Okay, good case in point.
It's like that we did a show a few months ago where we were talking about a book sold 125,000 copies, and I was like, that's sad.
Yeah.
That it was such a big deal that it sold 125,000 copies, and that would have been like, number 28 on the top 100.
That would have been the awesome slapstick in the 80s,
That would be the Batman
the
Damned sold like 90,000. Like that.
Yeah. Well,
And then if you go back to the Golden Age, every book sold 1 million copies.
Well, but
kind of. Well,
yeah.
Right. Well, that's like
kids read comics back in the Golden Age. They don't read them now. They play video games.
Look at Batman 181. Okay, first Poison Ivy. Obviously know that. That thing had 150,000 comics. I'm trying to think. I think it's like 125 to 150,000 print run. Something like that. That's like you said. That's uncommon today.
Yeah, we made a big deal.
But that's a book you don't see every day either, though.
But we made a big deal that Batman Damned sold 100,000 copies or 90,000 copies. I remember when Diodato was drawing Elektra, it was selling 65,000 copies, and they canceled it because it was a crap seller. It was came in at like number 75.
I just finished up reading the 90s Hellstorm series. And it's funny because Warren Ellis was talking about in the back pages on it that they were selling 50,000 copies, and they were canceled.
Yep.
At issue 17, I think it was the last issue.
And now 50,000 copies, you'd be the number one book every month.
So I actually will say, yes, I think we are in a bust. But like I said, but when there's not, like it's been said, when there's not seeing it.
We're definitely in
a
decline.
We in a recession or are we in a depression?
I think a recession.
I think a recession. I think, and with the whole Marvel's stuff, the diversity stuff not selling, it's just sales declining. It's declining,
they just keep
declining.
doubling down and doubling down on it. It's like
you've got to.
It's like the phrase going across the internet: "Get woke, go broke," and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They keep cramming it down our throats and cramming it down our throats, and no one's buying it.
I mean, if you have a cow that's not producing, you got to put the cow down. You got hamburger. You got hamburger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's end what's not working and try something else.
I think the comic book shop that only sells new books, that doesn't sell any back issues at all, if they don't have something else, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah.
A shop like Comic Empire with lots and lots and lots of back issues, the current issues pay the rent, and the back issues are
pay the bills.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Another problem is they're also they have their wheels turning,
Yeah.
and so it's probably going to take them a while to make an adjustment to get that wheel to turn differently.
Well, when you have the suits telling you, and that's the problem, is it's the suits that don't know what's going on. You don't have Jim Shooter, who plenty of years in the comic industry, saying, "Hey, this isn't working. We're going to try something else." You don't have that. I mean, at DC, I guess you have Dan Didido or Dilly-Didodo, whatever his damn name is. He ain't going to do a damn thing. He wants to get rid of the books anyway, in a sense. I mean, you don't have someone saying this is...
Dan Didio tell you that himself?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's like he would rather not publish comics.
The problem is that Marvel and DC are owned by Disney and Time Warner, and
AOL.
They couldn't care less.
Yeah, right.
As long as they're not losing money on it, they don't care. And I think Marvel right now is making just enough money that Disney doesn't care. The minute the sales decline enough that they're not making money, Disney will step in.
And I think, in a way, that's why they're trying to, like we said, trying to license the kid stuff out to IDW. License book to Archie. They had Archie books going at one time, Digest. Marvel had Archie publishing.
Because then it's just money coming in from intellectual property, and you're not having to spend any money.
Nope.
And publishing is costly. There's a lot of hands that want some money along the way when you publish a comic book. Everyone thinks that digital doesn't have costs, but you've got to have server farms.
It does.
Have,
people scanning it.
You've got to have webmasters. You've got to have bandwidth. You've got to have...
Now, if you have something already, like we mentioned earlier, Comixology, that's already there, that, the
nice thing about digital is it doesn't...
depreciate.
Well, it takes the guesswork out.
Right.
It costs you pretty much the same to sell 5,000 copies as 50,000. So you don't print a whole bunch that you can't sell. It's just enough manufacturing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love, talking about bringing back some of the, the good art, trimming down and stuff. I'd like to see them bring back David Michelini, yeah, and Bob Layton on Iron Man. I mean, I think they're still young enough that they could do it. Or
bring back William Messner Loebs. The guy was living in his car.
Right. His stuff was I'm not gonna say great, but for the time it was. His stuff on Flash, I enjoyed it.
He still wrote one of my favorite Wonder Woman stories.
Wonder Woman stuff was him and Diodato stuff was freaking good stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in his car, living in his car. That's sad. I hate to see a creator like do that.
I mean, Steve Rude was having to sell original art online just to make his house payment.
And
although, Steve Rude is, I don't think one of his books has ever come out on time, but...
You know what? I think if you put him on a quarterly book, I think it'd be perfect. Quit putting artists are slow and have problems getting stuff out on a monthly book. Make the book quarterly.
Tell him, give me 6 issues, and then I'll solicit number 1.
That's the Liefeld thing, yeah. But,
there's a lot of problems, and the thing is, we're not going to see any change anytime soon because it's going to take so long for them to actually get things turned around. And once we do see what they're doing, are they going to still be doing? They may be doing it differently, but are they going to be doing it right?
I don't know. So that's
the catalog is 2 months ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably books that are written 2 months before that, and they've been plotted out into the general plan 2 months before that. You're 6 months out. And that's before any crossovers
Well,
or
that's what people-
new directions.
That's what people were saying when C.B. Cebulski took over as editor-in-chief at Marvel. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to get better. And then a month later, they were mad that it wasn't better. But, you know, people were saying, you need to give him 6 months to a year before you're going to see any improvement. Well, it has been, and there's been no improvement. But
It was like when DC came out with the New 52, even though we heard like 6 months ahead of time, all the authors were like, my book just ended.
yeah,
We got 7 issues left.
yeah.
But for them, their book just ended.
Yeah.
Oh, I just turned in my
right.
last script. What? Yeah. So,
And then they still haven't undone enough of it yet.
no, and man, I'm not even going to get off on that rebirth tangent and everything on that. So no.
I think for the most part, the Rebirth.
Oh no,
stuff's been
I've
pretty
enjoyed
good.
it, but it's like Johns leaves,
Yeah.
and now all the hope and all the stuff that they were going to do, the 2-year story. We're 3 years into Rebirth, and have we finished that story yet? No. So, but, and it's just like now we're starting to go back, kind of move it back towards the New 52 stuff, and it's just I don't know.
Well, and the best laid plans get.
Yeah.
No battle plan survives first contact with the enemy. It would. I'm assuming it's very similar in the publishing industry.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
You plot stuff out 2-3 years in advance, and somebody comes in with a new idea or a new executive with a different vision for your company, and
Yep.
Just like Fox Studios or the Fox TV station. They had such high turnover that once you get your show on the air, you're fired and someone else comes in and they don't want your show on the air. They want their show, so they cancel your show. And that's why all of Fox's shows end within 3 years.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
And then I picked up by other networks.
and your show was going to be your ticket to fame and promotions.
Yeah.
It can't get any headway because it's a year behind you. Well, the first episode of your show didn't make Fox the #1 TV show, so you're out the door. Well, I just started.
Yeah. Or they get your show and then show your 6 episodes out of order and then cancel it because everyone was saying it didn't make sense.
They've done that to 2 shows that I can think of.
or they keep interrupting it for something else.
Like that World Series. God.
No, I don't mean just the World Series, but I mean just
Right,
They
I
do
know.
that a lot with
I
shows.
know.
They'll interrupt it for who knows what. And,
I know.
Sports, there's politics,
You forget
there's,
about it, and
there's movies, because they got to show a movie all the time. And
you don't know when it's going to air after that.
I think what's hurt a lot of times with Fox, though, is that putting the 9 o'clock news on. Because you should have from 7, 8, 9, you'd have a good 3 hours to put shows on. Now they only have crunched down to 2 hours.
That's
now-
always been Fox. They've
No.
never had.
Yeah, they used to have a 9 o'clock show.
no,
No,
They never did?
no.
when they came out with news, the 9 o'clock show ended.
Right. So, I mean, they didn't
But
always...
even then, before
But
they
there
had
was
news,
never a 9 o'clock. Fox only had 2 hours.
Yeah.
on-
Okay.
because even before there was news, it was usually a rerun of an older TV show that they were showing at 9. Like Manimal or something.
They've never shown Manimal. They looked at that show and said, we're
They
not going to
should
show
be
this.
showing Manimal.
No. Well, hopefully, no channel should show Manimal.
All right, was there any
Okay,
other?
well, we've swung around to Manimal, so I think
That's
we're
kind
done.
Was there any other questions?
That was it. All right. So, yeah. Pretty good thought-provoking questions, though.
You want to talk Sabrina?
You've been watching it. Or you
I
finished it.
watched it.
You finished it.
I've watched the first 3 episodes.
I've seen
James,
Venom
have
3
you watched
times.
any of it?
Why am I holding my hands up for? There you go.
It was good.
I can,
The first
Did you
3
watch
episodes.
Daredevil?
The first 3 episodes of Sabrina, the political agenda was very heavy-handed. But if you can fight through it and get to episode 4, the TV show puts that on the back burner and concentrates on the storyline, and it's actually a pretty good show.
And I see and I definitely know what Kenny's talking about, but it didn't. While I saw it in the shows, it didn't bother me as much because I was really enjoying everything else about the show.
Yeah.
So
You like
A lot of
Salem,
people
too, right?
though, that really gets to them, and they can't take it. You know, they don't watch TV shows for politics. If they want politics, they'll watch the news.
Well, they don't read comics for it either. So,
Right.
you know, so yeah.
Some people, they read Ms. Marvel and it goes right past them, and they don't even notice it. And some people pick up Ms. Marvel and get 2 pages in and go, oh, and throw it down on the ground.
I do that with Squirrel Girl.
I did have 1 or 2 moments where I'm
Damn
like,
squirrels.
let's get back to the main story arc,
Right.
Because it really, I don't think we're giving away spoilers. It really didn't need to be there.
Yeah, it didn't. It really,
Like you said, it tied in a character
it tied in the teacher to the girls.
that could have been done a whole number of different ways.
Yeah, and after episode 4, really, it doesn't have anything to do with the story anymore.
Right.
So, they keep bringing it up, the Wicca thing, the women's, I don't even remember what it stood for now.
Right.
But,
Now,
they'll mention it, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the story after the first 3 episodes or so.
So they took Wicca and tried to make it have
It was an acronym for basically
helping
the
women helping women.
Yeah, women helping women kind of thing. It stood for something. Women
Supporting women.
Women in something action or something like that.
Something a teen would come up with, basically,
Yeah.
what it did sound like. So,
But
yeah, so far I think it's pretty good. I think you should check it out. I don't
the
want
2
to
friends are obnoxious,
give any
though.
spoilers. The two girlfriends?
The Roz and Susie, they're obnoxious.
I
They needed
Carrie
to.
liked
They
them.
they needed to be there because they tie her to the mortal world, but also Harvey does too. And just the stuff they were saying, and that Susie girl's just annoying. Period.
So this isn't your Melissa
Actually,
Joan Hart
if we
Or
look
Susie boy or whatever.
Did you say you said,
I don't know if she's a boy becoming a girl or a girl becoming a boy.
Did you say that they needed to be in the show? I'm thinking about that right now. And I'm thinking,
Have you seen it, James?
maybe they
No,
don't
okay.
need to really be in that.
Well, they
But
need
they-
characters to tie her to
But
the
they
mortal
do-
world.
True.
Otherwise, she's just going to become a witch. You know what I mean?
But they don't need to be focused on maybe as heavily
Right.
as they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Harvey definitely ties her to the mortal world. I mean,
Right.
very strongly. Now the ants I like.
The ants were great, especially the scene where Zelda kills Hilda.
Yeah,
And I'm not spoiling that because that was in the trailer.
That's right.
Does she come back though?
Well, that we don't. want to
You find out about.
And
I'll be about 2 years behind.
what's
my
his name?
watches.
I like him, but I don't like him at the same time.
Oh, that guy.
Ambrose?
Ambrose.
I liked Ambrose.
I like
thought he was-
Ambrose. There's some things I don't like about him, but he's overall a pretty good character, I guess. But
Yeah.
I can't really just pinpoint it.
I thought Harvey, the kid from Austin and Alley, did a pretty good job as Harvey. And at first I didn't care for the Weird Sisters, but the longer the show went on, the more I liked them.
I thought they just came out of sort of like Pretty Little Things or something.
Yeah. And but I think Michelle Gomez probably stole the show. The teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was pretty good.
Yeah. She used to be the master on Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what her name was on Doctor Who, but
Missy.
Missy.
I'm not sure what to make of the principal yet.
I thought Missy was the lizard lady.
Bronson Pinchot.
No, Missy was short for mistress.
Oh, okay, yes.
Female version of master.
Masters. Okay.
I don't know exactly what his
We have 2 different
agenda
conversations
is
here.
yet.
The high priest?
Or the low priest.
No, the principal of
The high school
high
principal?
school, yeah.
I think his agenda is he's just
Just-
trying
just
to get
a-
some.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I only watched the first 3 episodes so far.
I've heard not enough Salem.
There's not enough Salem.
Salem is, but I like Salem. He's pretty cool. So in the first 3
Yeah.
episodes that he's introduced, I do like him.
So this
Yeah.
is not your Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina then?
Not at all.
No, she doesn't have a eye that droops.
Man, Melissa Joan Hart was hot.
She
I don't
was.
care what
She
you
was.
say, even with the droopy
Even with the
eye.
droopy eye, I agree. You didn't know she had an eye that
I never watched that much Sabrina that much.
Yeah, she has, I don't know,
A lazy-
it's a lazy
some
eye, okay.
syndrome
Yeah.
that it's basically a lazy eye.
yeah.
Did you watch Daredevil
No.
season 3?
Haven't got to Daredevil.
No,
yet.
but I heard
I'm
it's
planning on it.
very, very political.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Well, then you probably shouldn't watch it.
DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Season 4, Episode 1. Starting off strong.
It is. Yes, it is. And that series, hush, hold on. That series, it's like
Damn.
I did because I want to get this out because it's something that we've kind of
Well,
talked
get
about.
it out.
That it's like after the first season, they're like, "Oh, we're going to make it back or not? We don't know." Well, we're back, but we thought we were going to be canceled. So then they threw out the script and whatever they want to do.
It sounds like most of the scripts, I haven't watched it, but it sounds like from what you guys have discussed, they were token up before they wrote the scripts. Or you should be toking up while you're watching it.
It's
Or both.
No, they're just not taking themselves seriously. That's the thing.
They're
But
doing
it's-
what they want to
Right.
do instead of what corporate tells them they have to do.
Yeah.
And it's pretty
It's working,
damn
yes.
entertaining.
And Ava and Ava, is that right?
Yeah, Ava's the
Time. Her and Sarah's relationship, that works. To me, I think Ray stole the show so far in the newest episode. Well, they go back into time to Woodstock. So, and the unicorn.
and John Constantine, big fan.
I'm actually a fan of it, of the Constantine, yes.
So,
And what is it? Sparkle sauce?
yes. It's worth a watch.
It is. It is really
I
worth a
sat
watch.
through 3 episodes of Supergirl.
What'd you think?
Rona Mitra's so hot. That's the only reason I'm watching it.
Yeah, I
new
told-
season or
Yeah.
who's she on this one?
Mercy Graves.
Graves.
The bodyguard for Lex Luthor.
Yes.
And has Lex shown up yet?
No.
But we see. Okay.
No, she's the kind of like the purifiers from Gifted. They want all the aliens gone, and
Who Mercy is?
mm-hmm.
Because she's not playing the bodyguard then.
No, she was his
Oh,
bodyguard.
she was. Okay.
Now
not.
she's with this
Oh, okay.
group that won.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the whole allegory for illegal immigration.
Right. I haven't seen
Get
Supergirl.
rid
So
of damn aliens.
I watched the first
They
episode.
took our
like, twice,
jobs.
and I've seen the second episode, and I've seen the crossovers. So that's about all I've seen of Supergirl. So.
I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes of the first season, and I hated it because they would spend so much time building her character, which you have to do.
Right.
okay?
Right. Yeah.
But then they just throw this rando villain in there, and we're supposed to care.
Yeah,
They didn't
build
That's-
up any.
that's
They
kinda how I
didn't
felt about
build up
Highlander.
They didn't build up any villains.
They have continued to do that.
Yeah.
Most of the villains are villains of the week.
Well,
They
it's kinda-
did a little last season with the recurring villain, but not enough that you had a huge emotional attachment.
Flash has been good too, though, this season so far.
I think that's what made Green Arrow so good, is there was always a
Big bad.
big bad. Now, you had the villain of the
Right.
week that the
Right.
big bad would send after him, but
Mm-hmm.
you had some kind of, oh, okay, you know.
Well, that's like Highlander, the TV series, and I'm not looking at Terry 'cause I'm getting a weird look. It was always the
I
the-
like
the-
the TV
But they
series.
would
but
use
it's
the,
always the decapitation of the week. Who is
but
calling
they
it
always
around?
used the flashbacks to build up
They
that
built
character.
that story
Yes,
up.
right. They did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
But
it was
always
Supergirl, they weren't doing that.
Ah.
It was, you have 40 minutes of show. Well, they would spend 32 minutes building up
Her
Supergirl
character.
and her friends, and then throw this rando villain in there that you didn't even know who they were, and spend 7 minutes fighting them, and then the minute of her
Happy Time.
of happy time with her friends again. Whereas the Highlander show, you have 40 minutes, and 20 minutes of it was
That's
flashbacks
true.
building up this
That is true. Okay.
his not really villain but adversary.
Right.
Has anybody watched Black Lightning?
No,
Even the
No.
first season.
I watched the first episode or two and decided.
I got 15 minutes in and gave up.
That's something I've heard really good things about it.
I didn't hate it, but in terms of limited TV time, I just decided that was not something I wanted to spend.
Okay.
That's what
That's
I did with
understandable.
Titans.
Yeah, I haven't seen
I haven't
Titans
watched
yet.
the first
It was
episode.
not an hour that I was going to waste
Although
every week.
people are saying it's good still. I know.
I mean, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have really anything against it. I didn't buy that guy as Dick Grayson, but outside of that,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a decent show. It's just, you know, like James said, I'm not going to spend an
Right.
hour every week watching that.
And it's also a subscription
Yeah.
service. You have to buy into another service to get that,
Unless you have
Right.
Terrarium.
unless you have something.
Or other ways around it.
Other ways around it.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. Other ways around it, or other ways you're watching it.
I did get pulled back into Gifted, though. It has gotten better.
I need to watch
Morlocks
that.
are
Yeah, I'm
going to be
with
annoying, though.
I do want to get back into Gifted. What
I
about
still need-
the? What
I
about
still need to
the?
watch it.
Well, not necessarily comic book, but Supernatural. How's that going?
Shut up.
Man, he went there, didn't he?
Now
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
shoot you.
All right. So, you got anything else?
No.
And
no.
yeah, did I tell you that I found out that it's not the last season?
You did, and you're looking forward to those other seasons.
So there is going to be a series 15
Yes.
because we're on 14
They're
now,
just
right?
going to shorten the season so they can spend more time with their families.
And that's good. I'm
Th-
fine
that-
with that.
that-
That's good.
But
That's
you know, 'cause
good,
that way you have
yes. But,
a solid story. You
but
have
I want it to end.
instead of 22 episodes, you have 11,
It's
and you have
13,
a solid
right,
story.
Carrington? 13 episode seasons now.
Supernatural, 13 episodes. She's shaking her head. Yes.
Yeah. So now they're going to do 13 episode seasons and probably stretch it out another 15 years.
But you know what though? It's 13 episodes of a solid, like season 1 story.
So back to comic book things.
Thank you.
We've got Batwoman coming out.
I was going to ask, have you seen that? Have you seen the picture?
I've seen the pictures, and they're going to do a crossover. Legends isn't going to be
No.
involved, but it's going to be Supergirl, Green
Arrow,
Arrow, and Flash, and they're going to call it Elseworlds. So I assume that means she's from another universe separate from the Arrowverse and
But then
Supergirl.
she'll come into the Arrowverse at
And
the
then
end.
they will spin off her show, which I like that the DC shows have embraced the multiverse to they can have all these separate shows that don't have to all tie in together.
But I think that she's going to end up though over in the normal Earth. I think.
don't know
but
how
yeah, I don't
they're
know.
going
I don't know.
to do it.
Yeah,
But you know, the Supergirl universe is different from the
True,
Arrowverse,
that is true.
but she does cross over.
well, she has
and-
that device that she can make the portal. Yeah. But the picture I've seen of Ruby, it was just her and someone else. She's in the costume, standing next to a blonde. I don't know who the blonde was.
I've seen a picture of her, just Ruby, and then one of her next to Supergirl actress Melissa.
Okay.
Benoist.
I haven't seen that one. But she looks, I mean, in the costume, she's Batgirl. And she looks real good in it.
Batwoman.
Batwoman, sorry. I think I'm actually looking forward to seeing how they do that. That's one I'm actually looking forward to.
Well, there was an article recently. I don't know if anybody read it yet. I haven't got a chance to read it myself. That's what I'm
Probably
asking. That DC is rethinking their Black Label and Vertigo now because of the Damned.
Yes, I know what you're talking about on that one. I have seen that they are, yeah.
The Damned.
The
Damned.
Batman, the Damned.
Oh.
The Batpole.
Yeah, because they showed his penis. So you said you saw it, or did you read it?
I saw it and I skimmed through it a little bit. Yes, they are going to kind of tone it back a little bit.
Which we kind of figured they were going to
Right.
at least rethink it now. Although at the same time, I don't see how they could. We discussed. I don't see how they could have missed it. I mean, they should have. They should have known that this was going to cause some sort of controversy.
Well, I don't like that they're going to tame it down.
Did it
They
cause
should
controversy?
give those books to those creators because they're top-notch creators and say, "Go for it, do whatever you want," and let them do it.
But did it really cause controversy?
Well,
I mean, outside
it definitely caused. It definitely.
You enjoyed it, but I know.
It definitely had sales wise.
Right, but did it outside the comic?
Outside
Was
the
it
bubble.
a controversy, or was
Outside the
it
comic
yet
bubble, did you hear anything
another
about it?
excuse for people to pump and dump a comic book and buy it for $5 and sell it for $30? Was there any? I didn't hear anybody that was scandalized.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Outside the comic industry, I didn't hear anything about it. No breaking news on MSN, no breaking news on CNN or Fox.
They have
nothing.
showed
I think Sci-Fi had an
naked
article of
they're
it.
doing more
women in
comics,
comics, lots,
Yeah.
and we saw all of Dr. Manhattan in both the comic and the movie.
Well, it must have been at least enough controversy within the comic book realm itself that they
Right.
are considering
That's what-
dumbing down.
Yeah.
Well,
Then I don't
I
like
don't
that
think
shit.
I don't think they're dumbing it down. I think they're not going. They're not
telling them
still-
to ease up on the nudity.
right. I think they're doing
If it
that, but I think they're still going to have the edgy
If it
story.
adds to the story,
Right.
great. If you're just doing it to do it, don't.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I want
Yeah, I want
cheesy poops.
Tricky.
So,
Trick or treat.
so
So yeah, no.
okay. Sorry, we were.
have you
transferring.
seen the Bane from Gotham?
I have not.
Oh God, it looks awful.
I did see.
Does it?
Yeah, it does not look good.
It looks like Darth Vader without the helmet if it was on the original season of Doctor Who. It looks that bad.
Wow.
And I mean, like,
Which this is the last season of Gotham.
1960s Doctor Who.
It looks like an anemic Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So this is the last
It looks
season.
like
for it,
a
right?
hastily put together Halloween costume
I don't even think it looks that good.
by
No.
someone who's heard about the comics but hasn't read any of them.
Or who saw Batman and Robin and loved the wrestler who played Bane, right?
No. That
Not
would
even
be
that
an
good?
improvement.
This is
At
the
least
last
they
season
got
of
the
Gotham,
costume
correct?
right.
Last season of Gotham?
I think so.
Because I know they're getting ready to do a Pennyworth
Yeah.
spinoff. And I'm like, why?
They need to do a Tabitha spinoff. I'd watch that.
Catwoman?
No, well, she's the one that she's kind of like Selena's mentor.
I would like to see them do a show of Bruce Wayne's
His
journey
journey.
to being Batman.
Right. That's what I thought we were going to get kind of with Gotham, but then it was a kid. And I'm like, no.
Well, and they can't have that kid play Batman.
No.
No one would believe it.
No.
But think of all the people that you could have. Detective shows. You could meet Zatanna and Zatara. He's got to meet reporters. All these skills that he picks up. That each one of those could be a show into itself. I think it writes itself. But
I saw that they cast Madame Xanadu for Swamp Thing, but I can't remember who they cast for it.
Wait, what?
Madame Xanadu
Uh-huh.
for Swamp Thing?
Swamp Thing
The
is
TV
gonna
series.
be-
What? I didn't
Swamp Thing,
I hadn't heard this.
They're doing a Swamp Thing TV series.
Who is?
The Warner Brothers, DC. I think it's on their DC thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be done after Stargirl, I believe. But they have
Ooh,
cast.
Stargirl.
You knew about Stargirl.
I did not.
You did not know about Stargirl.
So they're going to do a bunch of.
Yeah. Stargirl actually
Are
looks
they
pretty
gonna be doing
good.
series or just little mini series or little one shots?
I
Is
don't
it going
know.
to be like Daredevil and Luke Cage of the DC world on their DC streaming?
I don't know. I just saw that they cast Madame Xanadu in Swamp Thing for the Swamp Thing series.
And who is it?
I don't remember.
Gee, thanks.
Sorry. Rona Mitra.
We're going
It's Rona
to,
Mitra. She's going to play
man,
Madame
going to
Xanadu.
Netflix.
I get the subscription service for that.
Do you think that they canceled Luke Cage? They canceled Iron Fist. Do you think that may?
No, I don't think we're going to get a Heroes for Hire.
You don't think you're going to get a Heroes Fire?
I think they're trying to trim their Marvel line down.
I think a Heroes for Hire, more of a detective show, could be interesting. Sort of like a True Detective type thing.
Gerald Prescott
Who?
is going to be Madame Xanadu in Swamp Thing.
Gerald Prescott.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either. I could see it. I mean,
I don't see it.
He's an
here, hand me your phone. I'll show Kenny.
Here, I got it right.
Oh, he's got it. Okay. I mean,
I don't. That doesn't look like Madame Xanadu to me. But we'll see how.
okay,
how she is.
fanboy, you need to get out of the comic part and know that they have to do it.
I don't know. I'm gonna wait
know?
and see how she does. As
That's fanboy, BOI, not.
Well, they don't have her listed on IMDb.
going back, Heroes for Hire. I think it could be an interesting detective
It could be,
show.
maybe. Well,
That would tie into superhero.
maybe they'll.
Daughters of the Dragon.
Yeah, that would work too. Maybe they'll do that on their Disney streaming series. They'll do a Heroes for Hire. Who knows?
Possibly. Maybe that's one of the
And
reasons
maybe
they're
they'll be
canceling
angsty,
them.
and
I hope it
angsty,
is.
and
CW.
Disney did say no more licensing out
Right.
any of the Marvel
and Netflix is kind of trimming that back too.
characters
So.
to
Right.
any
Right.
outside sources.
All right, you want ready to wrap this up?
I'm I guess we
Anything
can wrap
else?
it up. No, I don't think so.
Hold on, I'm going to give you my opinion here in a
We're
second.
going to get Kenny's opinion of Madame Xanadu.
No, keep talking about something else. I got to look her up.
So I don't know.
She was in The Walking Dead,
Yes.
Okay.
and that is not Madame Xanadu.
Right. It doesn't. She doesn't
I
look
think
like
they're going to go with
Madame
the.
Xanadu. Can
they're
she
gonna
act
go,
the part?
They're probably
Maybe
going to
so.
go with a kind of voodoo-ish kind of, since it's going to be set in the swamp.
I'd see Madame Xanadu as kind of an ageless,
Right.
not
She is.
necessarily
She
a
is.
young person, but maybe even like a Jane Seymour or something that.
I mean, considering it's Swamp Thing, it's probably going to be kind of.
I mean, they weren't gonna
Louisiana.
They weren't going to get Kate Beckinsale, who would be perfect for it, but I don't know. This woman just doesn't strike me as Madame Xanadu.
She looks like a. I mean, they could be coming at it from a different angle as a.
Well, like Dal said, probably going to be like a voodoo priest.
like a
or
voodoo
something.
priestess or something, right?
Yeah. And so I think
Like
fine.
they did with Enchantress.
Right. Exactly.
which we-
For
None of us really liked that version of it. I liked the
Well.
costume, but I just didn't like
She looked dirty.
the character. Well, I mean, before she got all dirty, though.
Oh, well.
So,
All right.
but I think we've.
I liked her better in Valerian than I did in Suicide Squad.
I have yet to see that. I need to see it. I'm a big fan of the guy's directing too.
You're not?
I am.
Oh.
I am a big fan of his directing. I
Besson.
love Fifth Element. no matter where it's at.
I haven't seen a Luc Besson movie that I didn't like.
I mean, it could be. I can see it's on. It's like, oh, it's been 45 minutes into the movie. I'll still sit and watch it.
I thought it looked okay, but the actors were pretty bad.
Well, you're a pretty bad actor too, sir. So that's okay.
Like I said, it looked okay though. The storyline was okay.
Yeah.
It was just an okay movie, wasn't it?
What are we talking now? Valerian?
Valerian, yeah.
It was pretty.
I picked up the Constantine movie, the
City of
animated
Demons.
City of Demons. I haven't watched it yet though, but it is out. So
They did show that. They showed like the first half on CW a few weeks ago.
Oh, did they? Because it originally was the CWC episodes, and
Yeah.
they combined them all in to make a movie.
They showed the first half of it, and then they had lots of interviews with Matt Ryan.
There again, he does the voice of
the
Constantine in the
person
movie.
that played Ava on Legends.
Legends. Yeah. Did she play Ava in the series in the movie? I wonder.
No,
So she's a different
think
voice?
That was just who they could get to
Ah.
interview Matt Ryan for the.
Oh, she interviewed
They're-
Matt. Okay.
It was
I'll watch
kind
it.
of an interview type.
The conversation with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Or with the lady that plays Ava.
Ava, yeah.
They were talking about the upcoming shows, and since he's on Legends this season,
Which I've actually noticed they've changed the logo. It used to say just Legends of Legends, of Tomorrow. Now it's like Legends of Tomorrow with like the occult symbol behind it. So anyway, yeah. Pretty cool.
He is by far, though, the best of all of the DC casting.
And you know what? He's embraced it too.
Right up there with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think Melissa Benoist, regardless of her acting, that she has embraced
The
the
Supergirl.
Supergirl
Yeah.
ideology. You
Yeah.
look at her, and I look at her, and I see Supergirl.
Yeah.
Well, I think honestly, the same could be said with Grant on Flash and with Stephen Amell on Arrow.
See, I do not see Green Arrow when I see Stephen Amell. Not really Flash and Grant Gustus. I mean,
Really?
he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
I enjoy the show, but I don't... That's not who I see when I'm reading a Flash comic book.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm reading a Supergirl comic book, I
You
see
see her.
Melissa Benoist.
Okay.
And when you read a Constantine, you see him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually going to think I'm going to go back and pick up the old Hellblazers and read those.
And it's their voices that you hear when
Yeah.
they're talking now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear Matt Ryan now when I'm reading Constantine saying something in a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And when they first announced Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I was like, no, that's not going to work. And then you see Wonder Woman, and now you hear Gal Gadot's voice when you're reading Wonder Woman. Because she did such a good job.
Oh, yeah.
And her accent worked
Yeah.
in with the backstory that they made
Yeah.
for her.
For the longest time, I heard Mark Hamill in there for a while. And after Heath Ledger, I heard Heath Ledger as Joker for a while.
And now he hears Joaquin Phoenix, right?
No,
Jared Leto.
I do not hear Jared Leto at all. No.
But you do
I
hear
hear Johnny Cash as the Joker.
for Harley Quinn, you hear
Oh, yeah.
Tara.
Margot Robbie.
Margot
Margot,
Robbie.
yeah. I don't know. Tara, I think. Didn't Tara do the original voice?
No, the original voice was,
Barbeau?
no, she was Catwoman.
Okay.
And yes, I do
Oh,
still hear
man, I can't
Kevin
remember.
Conroy for Batman.
For Batman, yes, definitely.
The original Harley was the actress that Paul Dini based her on. But I cannot remember her name.
Because then didn't Tara take over?
Yeah, Tara Strong played her for a long time.
Yeah. And now they got
And-
Kaylee
Kaylee Cuoco.
Cuoco.
I hear a lot of the characters that voice the Justice League animated series when I read the book. I think I still hear that Wonder Woman
Susan Eisenberg.
from the.
That's another
the
thing they're
Justice
doing.
League.
They're doing an animated Harley Quinn series on that CW channel. And that's going to be Kaylee Cuoco, whatever her name is. Cuoco. Sorry, Kaylee.
Dow said that also that his Batman animated series on Blu-ray is just
It's
was
shipped,
out.
It's getting, I should be
I,
getting
think
it pretty
I
soon.
thought it got pushed back to December, and apparently
It
not.
did. Somehow it did. Then it got.
I should be getting
yeah.
mine next week too. So I'm looking forward to that.
You can sit at home and watch it all. Can you get it?
I don't think I'll be able to sit at home and watch it all at once. No, I have to take off for work. No.
Arlene Sorkin.
Sorkin, that's right.
That's who the original Harley Quinn was. And she was based on Arlene Sorkin.
Okay.
So how many here wish that the Christian Bale Batman had been voiced over by Kevin
Conroy.
Do what?
How many here wish that the Christian Bale Batman
You
had
know,
been voiced
somewhere out there, I'm sure someone has done that.
Well, I just don't
And
see
I
how
want
he,
to see it.
how
Hell.
he kept progressing with his voice,
The
from
gravelly
one movie to
voice.
the next, to where he was. The third movie is just
Yeah, it was like the first movie. He's like, "I'm Batman," and then it was, "I'm Batman," and it was like, "I'm Batman."
yeah.
So just get Kevin
I think,
Conroy,
like, if
do
you
a
just-
voiceover, call it a day.
If you just watch the movie and turn the audio off, those are great Batman movies.
They should do a special edition of those movies where Kevin Conroy comes in and voices over the Blu-rays,
And someone else does Bane,
and someone else.
or just let Tom Hardy speak in his normal voice.
Although the
Or he could-
Bane didn't bother me as much as it bothered a lot of people, but I think it
actually
would
like
be
the
interesting
Bane,
to
so.
see a special edition with Kevin Conroy definitely doing Batman's voice. That would be cool.
I think we've lost it now.
Yeah, if they got matter of fact, if they just got all of the original animated series voices to do all of the characters,
Could do Talia, yeah.
and Alfred and Catwoman and
Although I kind of like Michael Caine as Alfred, though.
yeah,
Yeah, he did a pretty
Keep
good job.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. Are we? Is that it?
I think we're done.
We have discussed a lot of crap today. Hope
But you know,
enjoyed
it's
it.
good, though.
This is Terry for Comic Book Straight Talk signing off.
Mrs. Dalian.
Kenny.
James.
Carrington.
Thanks a lot.